But there's another big problem in this world today that contributes to this nightmare, and that is fake news. My friends, I must show you the fakest of fake news. I'm going to explain to you something I've probably explained a lot.
Break it down, Tim.
Why it is people in this country have no idea what's going on and why their brains are broken.
Boom.
So a good example. Actually, let me give you the full context first. Daily Mail says, quote, "Let's go. Donald Trump furiously orders aides to provide proof to Fox News' Chris Wallace that Joe Biden wants to defund the police and his staff can't provide any. First and foremost, they framed the story as though it is not true. Let me just tell you, Trump was right. Joe Biden does, based on the common understanding of what defund means, Joe Biden does want to defund the police by his own admission, his own words. Yes, absolutely. We'll get to that. But what you need to understand about why this story is so annoying is when Adam talks about he's trying to convince people on Facebook, or not even necessarily convince people, just explaining to people like,
Correct.
yo, here's a story that's really important about why, I would want to vote for Trump.
Yep.
And then you get a bunch of people saying like, I don't believe you,
Well, how dare you vote for someone that is a bigot? And it was like, that has nothing to do with what I just presented you. Like, look at what I just said, read the article that I'm presenting, and you're coming at me with something different.
Well, here's the best example.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier today, you posted something about Joe Biden will get back in bed with China.
Right. Yeah.
And then someone was like, you're only saying that because Trump just said it. It's not true, blah, blah, blah. And the difficult thing is you can pull up 50 billion articles that will make it seem like Joe Biden is all about America. But when you actually dig in and look at the framing, you realize it's just lazy journalism.
Yeah. And then they actually, some of them have messaged me privately. Here's all the articles that I was talking to you about.
Yep. And
I read them all. 80% of them, Trump allegedly did this. Trump allegedly did this. Trump allegedly did this. And I'm like, I'm sick of this allegedly stuff. It's like, give me the exact stuff, because everything I'm reading, I look into, and it didn't actually happen. So it's them saying whatever.
We'll come back to this.
Go ahead.
But I want to make sure everybody who's watching this gets an understanding of how the media is broken. I bring you now to the Daily Mail. You see, I read you this headline. Trump furiously says, I want proof, but he can't provide any. Oh no, Trump. Oh no. Look at this. Trump claims Joe Biden wants to defund police in upcoming Fox News interview. Now we have this one from The Hill. Fox host Chris Wallace fact checks Trump claim Biden wants to defund the police. Now, they're all a bit more neutral on this, but the reality is Joe Biden absolutely does. And I have for you the interview where he literally says yes. Let me see if let's play it. Hopefully the sound works.
Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that...
Okay.
Boom.
From now this, yes, absolutely. Cut police funds. They've become the enemy. First, let me call out the Trump war room. He didn't say cut funding to the police. He said redirect some of the funding. And Joe Biden said, yes, absolutely. Now I bring you to the New York Post story. In this interview, Chris Wallace is like, he's talking to Donald Trump, and Trump says, well, look, Joe Biden wants to defund the police. And Wallace goes, no, sir, he does not. And Trump's like, yes, he does. He just did this pact with Bernie Sanders. And he goes, let's go. And he calls his aides, and his aides can't find anything specifically in this document with Bernie that says defund, but it does talk about reallocation. More importantly, however, the New York Post does bring up this at the bottom. They say, the Bernie Sanders unity agenda does not use the term defund, but calls for policies that will reorient our public safety approach toward prevention and away from over-policing. Biden orally committed last week to steering funds away from the police. An interviewer asked the former vice president, but do we agree that we can redirect some of the police funding? Yes, absolutely. Now I know, right away. Chris Wallace is probably saying, well, redirecting funds does not mean defund or abolish. And I'm sure all of the lefties are going to be like, no, you see, Biden, someone tweeted this to me. Biden was talking about moving funding from one department to another. No, he literally said redirect police funding. Okay, you want to make an assumption about what it means. Feel free to do so. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you what they literally mean. According to the Brookings Institute, defund the police means reallocating or redirecting funding away from the police department to other government agencies funded by the local municipality. That's it. Boom.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. So now you have all these people running around. You see stories like this. AP, Joe Biden did not call for defunding the police. Hold on a minute. If the definition that they gave, okay, in numerous instances, because look, I'm choosing these select sources, right?
Right.
There's 50 billion sources that say defund means literally defund. Check this one out. Yes, we mean literally abolish the police.
That's helpful.
Okay, man. So I'll tell you what. If Joe Biden doesn't know what he's talking about, you do not have the right to claim you can read his mind and knew what he really meant. What they're doing in the media is they're using whatever definition is going to get them the most points.
Yep.
So when they first said defund the police, and it shocked the minds of America when they were like, whoa, defund the police? Almost like, I believe something like 80% or so say no to this. They don't want to see a reduction in police funding. But a lot of people thought it meant remove all funding from police.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we heard a split. A bunch of people said, no. It just means like demilitarize. Like these, like Joe Biden was saying, they got big tanks. They don't need that, become the enemy. Yes, he's taking the Democratic Party's approach that the police departments should have a little bit less funding because they got too much big, APCs and weapons and stuff. That is literally one of the definitions of defund the police.
Yep.
According to the other definitions, it means literally abolish. But based on what Joe Biden said, it does fit what they're claiming. And now the AP says this. During an interview with activist A.D. Barkin, Democratic presidential hopeful Joe Biden gave his full support to defunding the police in the U.S. AP's assessment, false. Biden said he supports redirecting some police funding to address mental health or to change the prison system. I'm sorry, what did the Brookings Institute say? So who's right? This is why no one has any idea what's really happening in this country.
I have an answer.
Yeah?
Trump is.
Exactly.
Trump is right.
He is. He was correct.
Yep.
So this is the problem. When Trump says Hillary Clinton acid washed her server, and then NBC says Hillary Clinton actually didn't use a corrosive substance on her computer. That would be ridiculous.
Right.
Or then when Trump's having a candid interview with Chris Wallace, he doesn't have these sources pulled up in front of him. I'll tell you what, Donald Trump, I'm going to assume you're listening, because you better be.
Of course.
Or Trump Jr. Kayleigh McEnany needs to be standing next to you for all of these interviews. 100%. You know why? Because she got that binder with all those tabs. And Chris Wallace would be like, no, sir. Joe Biden does not want to. Up. Kayleigh. And she'd go, I have it right here, actually. He said, we would, yes, absolutely, when asked if we would reallocate. And then Chris Wallace will go, well, reallocating is actually up, Kayleigh. And then she'd go, yes, actually right here in this source, and this source, they all defined defunding as reallocating funds. So, yes, Joe Biden agrees with that. And then it would be over.
Yep.
Kayleigh McEnany, you just got to bring her, you just have her, she's the press secretary.
Yep.
She should be just standing right after this. Then when Trump wants to call his aides over and they read through the Biden-Bernie pact, and they don't know what's in it or where Joe Biden said he wants to reallocate some of this funding, I'm pretty sure Kayleigh McEnany has all the answers.
Yep, she does.
She's
a beast.
That photo, you saw that? You seen that photo? I wonder if people
of her
are watching.
binder?
Yeah, her binder's got all these tabs of like all these different stories.
It's so legit.
And I love it. She'll get asked some stupid question and she'll go, I'm glad you asked. And then she'll pull the tab and then she'll go, here we are. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that example. Well, what about this example? This example, this example, and this example. Next. It's like, oh.
And now,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, I would like to slam dunk the last portion of this segment.
Oh, slam it, babe. Come on.
Does Joe Biden want to defund the police? Well, as we've broken down for you, the answer is a technical yes. I mean, he said he wants to reallocate funding. That's at least one of the basic definitions. So I think we can say, although there are many people with different perspectives, he at least fits one of them. But how about this? Biden campaign staffer mocked cops as worse than pigs and called for defunding the police.
Wow.
I understand it's not Biden directly, but come on, man. It's Biden's. It's a campaign staffer. So maybe he doesn't know her, but this is a part of his campaign. Same as Bernie Sanders when he had those people exposed by Veritas, okay? This is what this person, Sarah Pearl tweeted. It's an image. It says, please stop calling cops pigs. Pigs are highly intelligent and empathetic animals who would never racially profile you.
I have a
And
question.
then there's hearts next to a pig face.
I wonder if she's vegan. I bet she eats bacon.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're
Who
all
knows?
vegans.
I don't know. Who knows?
After what they were demanding from the Chaz. We demand Satan! And
No, that was in Portland, I think. That was
Oh,
the
that was
original pre-Chaz.
Chaz. We demand vegan food. I told
I
you
guess
about when
Paz?
I told you
Portland.
I told you the sad story of the wasted vegan pizza at Occupy.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Yeah, just a
this
quick-
tastes weird. Someone's trying to poison it.
Well, it looked weird.
Oh.
And nobody knew what it was. Yeah, so at Occupy, a bunch of pizzas got delivered, and people opened it and noticed that on one pizza looked normal, and the other one, the cheese looked like it wasn't all the way melted.
Right, diet.
And, exactly. And so people were like, I don't know, this looks weird. And someone tried it, it's like, it doesn't taste like regular pizza. And they were like, we better not eat it. And they just dumped it.
It's such a shame.
Yeah, it was vegan pizza. Yup. And the regular pizza was fine. The vegan pizza was probably way healthier.
Probably.
But so anyway, look.
No doubt, actually.
I'm not gonna pretend like just because one campaign staffer called for defunding the police or whatever, but I think you add this with what we just talked about, and there it is. Joe Biden, his campaign, they do agree with the same activist sentiment.
Yep.
Call it whatever you want, reallocate, address, whatever. Joe Biden says yes, absolutely, when the activists ask him if he's on board.
Yeah, defund means take funds away. Period.
So now,
doesn't matter where they go. If you're moving them somewhere else, you're defunding the police.
but now for the sad, pessimistic view of the world.
Oh, great.
Every single story is this. Obviously not literally all. I'm just saying like 90-something% every day. I'm going through the news and it's like, Snopes. Did Donald Trump actually, did Donald Trump carry a bag of burning puppies, and toss them into a burning building? Mostly true. And then what it'll say is, while Donald Trump did throw a bag of puppies into a burning building, it was actually because he was moving them out of the burning room into the safe room where the firefighters were waiting to safely rescue them. It was the living room of the building. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you get this really great story. Donald Trump, jumps in front of a car to save a little kid, and they'll show the picture of Trump like this in front of the kid in front of the car, and it'll be like, did Trump push a kid in front of a car? True. Donald Trump pushed the kid who was in front of a car to save his life.
Right.
It's like, that's not the context. Yeah, man.
Learn the context, people.
No, it's on purpose.
Learn the context.
They know. Jim Acosta knows what he's doing.
The media,
Brian Stelter
the
knows what he's
media
doing.
are storytellers. That's what I'm finding out. They're storytellers that tell the story that they want to tell. And you have to look it up, look up the context. That's what I've been doing. Everyone keeps giving me, oh, well, here's this article. And I'm like, all right, I'll read it.
Yeah, but dude.
And then I'll go and follow the sources to the end to where it actually is talking about. And I'm like, oh, so it's not true. And I go back to the conversation. Okay, so that's not true.
But what the right? But the
whoa,
average,
whoa. Yes, it is. Someone actually said that to me.
But the average person spends most of their day at work.
You're right.
If you're,
And all these people coming at me on Facebook, that's what they tend to do also. They don't, I actually try to explain to them, okay, well, my job is actually researching all of this nonstop, all day. That's what I've been doing. Even my free time. I don't even have free time anymore. My free time is when we go skating.
Yeah.
As soon as that's over, I'm like, all right, back to the grind. It's like, but they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it.
They're like, are you a doctor, Adam? Are you a doctor?
Someone told me that today. Because I've been talking about certain things on Facebook,
and basically what they like to do is, how about you just leave it to the experts, Adam, and then when you say something like, actually, it's my job to read the news all day and fact check these things, gone. They just don't respond.
That's true.
Because they don't actually care about what's important, what's true. This is a serious cultural problem we have. Because I'll tell you what, man, if the American people don't want to high five and yell America together, well, then that's a bigger problem. That's all that matters. So look, even if we disagreed on certain policy issues, as long as we agree on America,
then that's not even the thing anymore. People are
we don't agree,
starting to be convinced that America is not good, and it's like, that's crazy to me. That is insane. And I know a lot of these people have never been outside America, and they need to.
Probably not even outside their hometown.
I know for a fact that they have. So, but as far as leaving the States, I know one friend of mine has traveled around a lot, and he should know better. But it's like,
I read
America's an amazing place. We are free here. Our civil rights. How many countries have the amount of civil rights that we do? What do you think?
Oh man, I honestly don't know.
What a percentage?
Really small, actually.
Tiny percentage.
Because it's really really small. Even European countries don't have the same civil rights as us.
You're absolutely right.
Like Canada, you can get arrested for saying naughty words on the internet. In the UK, Count Dankula made it. Listen, Count Dankula's story is the perfect example of how insane things are, even in Western nations, because he made a joke for like 10 subscribers of his dog doing something offensive.
Yeah.
They arrested the guy, and they took the money out of his bank. They charged and convicted him for making a joke on the internet. In the United States, this even happens to people. You know there are stories, people posting rap lyrics getting arrested and charged with terror and stuff.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's one story about some kid who posted rap lyrics, and the rap lyrics were
Lewd?
no,
To say
like
the least.
terroristic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like talking about, popping a cap or whatever.
That's a whole nother conversation about a certain culture that's making people do certain things and believe that that's the cool thing to do.
It's not even about that. It's about the fact that we have a First Amendment right here in this country.
Yeah.
And even when the line is blurred, you can sometimes have your rights violated, and we still are one of the best countries.
You're right.
I guess arguably in terms of freedom, Mexico might be better. You know why?
Why?
They've got, I think it's in like southern Mexico, a bunch of anarchists,
Okay.
like both left and right wing, kind of just do whatever they want because it's relatively lawless. Yeah, Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change went down to, I guess, I don't know if it's Acapulco and Acapulco or however, like wherever it is, but he literally went to the city that's all private. It's like private security. There's like no real strong government. People just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then rich people like to go down there and have private security guards guarding their property because they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like think about the things you can actually do. Like maybe play a game of poker with your friends. Maybe fire a bow and arrow in your backyard. Like I want to talk about things that, like, if you knew what you were doing and you had a decent sized backyard and you had the proper safety and all that stuff and you knew it was safe, you still can't do that in a lot of places. Like they'll call the cops.
Yep.
Or even a BB gun. So a lot of people thinking about that, and probably drugs, they want to go off in the middle of nowhere. But these places like in southern Mexico are not necessarily the middle of nowhere. They're towns with functioning, stores and goods. And it's interesting, man. Talk about freedom. But you know what? I do personally think I'm not personally not an anarchist. I do like some government. I would consider myself liberal, so a little bit more government than a libertarian would want.
Yeah.
That means I like the cops. I like being able to have a justice system that for the most part tries to get it right. Not perfect, not all the time. Better than some random dude, because in Acapulco, some lefty hippies were guys like doing drugs or something, and somebody ran in and just shot him and killed 2 of the guys.
Dang.
Yeah, just went bang, 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 and what do? You can't do anything about it. And so I see that stuff, and I'm like, that's why I like police. Not because the cops are going to just magically appear and stop this. You got to defend yourself. You got your responsibilities.
True.
But that we have a justice system that will, to whatever degree you're happy with, like sometimes it's not perfect, they'll try to stop these people so they don't do it again.
Yeah.
And that does reduce the amount of crimes and murder. And now the best part, man, New York City. They defunded the police, $1 billion. They reassigned 600 anti-crime unit cops. Crime skyrocketed. And now guess what?
They're asking for it back.
Local activists.
Begging for it back.
Please bring back our police.
Yep.
We didn't. Local activists in New York are saying like, no, we want our cops back.
Yep.
The crime's going up. Help.
Right.
And what do we get from AOC?
What a surprise.
AOC is like,
it'll be like the suburbs.
They just want bread.
Really? That's what well, before she even got to that statement, well, what does defunding the police look like? Oh, it looks like the suburbs, where everyone has like a big, large property and they're a nice house. Like, really? That's what it's going to look like? Sure,
and
AOC.
Less dense population.
Less dense population.
Yeah.
People aren't living on top of each other. That's what it's going to look like to you? Where does she live? She is Marie Antoinette. It's true.
She comes out and says defund the police means defund, and this isn't enough. We need more.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the people who actually live in New York are saying, please help us. We need our police. And is she listening? No. She's saying maybe they need bread. I love that, dude. That's Marie Antoinette.
It is.
Let them have bread.
Let them have bread.
Maybe they're stealing bread while they're shooting each other.
Wow,
man.
And beating cops up. And
dude.
Yeah, and shooting each other.
New York.
In front of their kids.
You know what's funny? We talked about Donald Trump setting up these luxury buildings to get rich people to come back to pay taxes.
Yep.
Now Trump's gone. Everybody, all these people in New York are ragging on him all the time. And now their tax base is eroding due to their horrifying job dealing with COVID.
Yep.
They blame him for it, but it's all Cuomo's fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all de Blasio's fault, to be fair. And mostly Cuomo.
They're both to blame.
Yeah, I think Bill de Blasio first.
Yeah.
And then Cuomo, but both of them.
They were probably talking about it.
It's like they're both standing there yelling, "We saved the city," and like everybody's dead from COVID.
Patrick and SpongeBob
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
We did it. We saved
the city.
Congratulations. It ran amok, killed a bunch of people, and that was them. There's like Bill de Blasio's people early on saying, "Come down to Chinatown." Nancy Pelosi was doing the same thing.
Yep.
And they want to try and blame Trump for it. Look, man, you can criticize Trump. He's not doing good enough, but you have to do better than him. Like, if you're doing a really bad job, like imagine this. Imagine like the kitchen is a disaster zone and like you're cleaning it and I'm sitting there literally throwing garbage on the floor and I'm like, Adam, why don't you clean up your mess? And you're like, first of all, I didn't make the mess. Second of all, you're literally throwing garbage on the floor. Like, you can't be.
By the way, this actually happens.
No, this doesn't happen.
No, I'm just kidding.
But my point is, you can criticize Trump for sure, and I think it's fair to say, if you've got criticism, can you do better?
Right.
One of the problems I have with actually, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna give a shout out to a Casey Neistat video, and try and connect these into a similar idea about relativity. So they're saying Trump's doing a bad job, relative to what? Who do we compare COVID to?
Right.
Other countries that are smaller and have different, border controls. When you look at these European nations that are much smaller than the U.S. and they were able to lock down their borders, that certainly helped. We didn't lock down our borders between states. It's up to the states to do, not Trump.
And remember, we are called the United States for a reason. There's different states. Every state has its own laws. It has its own governors. They do their own thing. They straight up told Trump to F off. Like, don't even try to tell us what to do. We're running the show. We're the governors. And he was like,
here's my guidelines.
Yeah, he tried to help. And they were like, nah, those are your guidelines. This is the United States. This is what we do. But then as soon as that corner turns, they flip it on him. Like, whoa, now we can blame him. Now we're gonna switch it around.
It's relativity. Is Trump doing a bad job on COVID? In order to say yes or no, you need a control United States, which does not exist.
That's a good point.
And so I see a lot of people saying, well, look at Italy. How come they? Well, Italy is like one state. Okay, well, still, how come Italy versus what, New York? Because that's real. New York is the epicenter.
Right.
Well, what about Pennsylvania? Do we have border restrictions stopping people from traveling between New York and Pennsylvania? No, you can just go boop, 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 and Trump can't do anything about that.
Yep.
So it's not the same. It's very hard to quantify. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.